As you may know, April marks a month-long awareness for immigration nationwide.
That's right. And NAZ Today's Sierra Ferguson sat down in studio earlier today for a report under the surface of border security issues that are often overlooked.
One border security measure has cost and is still costing taxpayers $4.5 million a mile to construct. The 600-mile-long wall that separates the United States from Mexico aims to secure our borders. But is that all that it's doing? Earlier this week, I spoke with Dan Millis of the Sierra Club, who recently presented a talk entitled Wild versus Wall. Dan joined me in the studio and talked a little bit more about the residual impacts of border security and the physical barriers that are involved. Immigration Awareness Month is upon us, and so immigration issues are kind of at the forefront of people's minds. But one issue related to border security that a lot of people forget is the environmental impact. So could you tell us about some of those?
Sure. Well, the Sierra Club is mostly interested in the border wall and the negative environmental impacts that come from the border wall, and also the waiver of law. So many laws don't count on the border anymore, and they've been sort of brushed aside so that the border wall could be built very quickly.
What are some of the environmental impacts of the wall?
Mostly the problems that come from the wall are wildlife habitat being destroyed or fragmented, sort of being chopped up in two by this new barrier that's been built. Also, wildlife migration corridors are blocked, so wildlife that used to migrate through a certain area now either has to find somewhere else to migrate or is just out of luck, and that could be really dangerous for that species in terms of their survival. And then another big issue that we have is flooding. There's been a lot of flooding problems that have occurred in areas that are wild areas like Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument here in Arizona, but also in urban areas like Nogales, Arizona, Nogales, Sonora, where there's a wall right between the two cities.
And you mentioned that some laws have been sort of waived or passed over in order to build the wall. Can you tell us about those?
In 2005, the Bush administration waived what they did is they passed the Real ID Act, and that allowed them to waive a total of 37 federal protection laws. So these are laws like the Endangered Species Act, the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, as well as laws that protect other things that you wouldn't think of, such as the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, and there's a few more like the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. So everything from religious freedom to endangered species, those protections that we count on as Americans are no longer in effect on the border. And that has led to a lot of these problems with flooding and environmental destruction and the destruction of sacred sites or historic sites. And even right now, as we speak, this border wall, it's built up to more than 650 miles so far, and there are still areas that are under construction, including a historic site in El Paso right now.
Well, Dan gave a talk about the environmental issues surrounding border security last night at the HLC. If you would like more information about this topic, you can visit our website, naztoday.com.